Hello there. How are we this evening? It's good to see you here. I'm just going to post a link and we'll get on our way. Be on our streaming journey. Okay. Ready to stream, gang. How are we tonight? Let's take a look at the chart. I haven't looked at the chart today because I've been screenwriting, been doing my actual real job. How is everyone this fine summer evening? Sound off, if anybody's listening, which, like I said, Bitcoin ratings are down. For one thing, anybody working in television will tell you that ratings always go down in the summertime. People are like out, they're like, there's more daylight in the summer, like they have more parties, people just don't watch TV in the summertime, so that's one thing. But also, I think ratings are generally down for Bitcoin, just in general. It's not just the summertime that ratings are down. It's that, ratings on the shitcoin are down, just in general. I think that's obvious to anybody who's paying attention. And hopefully that means that we're nearing the bottom. I mean, I personally don't think that we're going to hit the bottom, for months. I think we've got, at least, a few more months of this just, miserable grinding sideways to go. But, I think we're getting closer. I think the sentiment is just this sort of, wearied, just worn out feeling, where, most of the normies have pretty much given up. Anybody who entered, sort of in the fall to, Thanksgiving to winter has just, they're done. They've been bled dry. The institutions and the whales have just squeezed them for, everything they've got. You can't squeeze blood from a stone. That's, that's an old saying. Yeah, early today, DV. You know what? Ideally, I would always stream at this time, at 7 p.m. my time, which where you are, that's probably, 5 a.m.? By the way, DV, I'm very concerned about your sleep schedule. But do you know the main reason why today I was just, I honestly wasn't done screenwriting today, but I was like, you know what? This overhead light, when I start streaming, when it's totally dark outside, the overhead light in my living room, it just does a number on my face. It just makes me look haggard and, terrible. Oh, I guess pretty close to where you are. 420. Okay. Is that, a pot joke, DV? I was watching myself on stream, and I was just sort of oh my god, I look terrible with this, overhead, if I was directing myself in a horror movie and I wanted to, make myself look as bad as possible, I would light it with, this, harsh overhead light with like no reflectors and like no flattering like front light, like just terrible. Like, you know, like I was like looking at myself on the, you know, on the phone, and I was just sort of like, Jesus, Julie, like, do you have no like sort of sense of like just vanity? You know, like if I'm going to be a director soon, like what are you gonna, you know, what reel am I gonna show them? Like how terribly like I directed myself, like, you know, like how unflatteringly I directed my own face, like on the stream. Like, Jesus Christ, like you got to get it together, girl. So I was like, okay, so you need to actually like put your screenwriting aside and actually like stream at like 7 p.m. when it's still light out, so I can actually like look decent on stream. DB, I don't think people understand. Like, you know, women suffer a lot in this world, and you know, this is probably like, you know, number like 1,700 on the ways in which we suffer. But like, just a simple thing like streaming, like, you know, a guy can just like get on the internet and like put himself out there like acting a fool, and just like no one cares about how he looks. But like if a woman does it, like, oh my god, like she looks terrible with this overhead light, and it's like 10 times worse, and like the guy looks terrible with overhead light. You know what I mean? Like it's not good, dude. Okay, let's take a look at the chart. Let's actually like stay focused and like, you know, talk about the reason why we're here. It might just be you and me, dude. Like I don't think anybody else is even jumping in on the convo. And by the way, I am in my bathing suit because I'm gonna swim after this. Ideally, like I swim every day, but again, with the streaming thing, like having to juggle like screenwriting, streaming, trading, investing, like it's a lot of balls to like keep in the air. It's a pretty intense lifestyle, I have to say. It's really hard. This is my first time looking at the chart all day, so let me just kind of like get my bearings, figure out what we're doing here. And again, it's because I'm like pretty focused on this movie I'm finishing, which is pretty intense. What have you been up to, DB? How's your summer going? Yeah, multitasking. You know, ideally I would just be focused on the script and that's it. But it's the kind of thing where like you can't just sort of like put the rest of your life on hold. You know, like it's like it just doesn't work that way. You have to kind of like keep your life running, and so I think we go up a little bit from here. What do you think on Bitcoin? This is the 4 hour I'm looking at here. I mean, it's not a home run. But the 6 hour seems like wants to go up from here too. Kind of bummed FMF is going slow. I'm still looking to buy BTC with fiat at critical levels, not feeling it yet. Yeah. Are you looking to buy BTC, like, where would you say? Like, are you still looking for the, like, you know, 4.9? I mean, I was just saying, I think before you got on stream, and by the way, you can, if you want, you can connect to my Discord and, like, we can chat on voice. Do you want to chat with me on voice on my Discord? I mean, you don't have to, obviously, but, like, I just thought that, like, that's an option, you know. I always forget to connect to the voice on while I'm on stream. Okay, now I'm connected to Discord voice. So are you kind of waiting for the like 4.9, 4.8, 4.9 level to like buy more Bitcoin with fiat? Like I feel pretty certain that we're going to get there. It might just be like a wick there. Like it might be a good idea to kind of just like put in bids on spot, like on Coinbase Pro or something, or Gemini or wherever you buy your spot Bitcoin. But I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I think it's going to be like months. Like I think we're going to have this like slow, depressing downward grind with like occasional little like bull traps and like fake outs up. But I think this is going to be like wearying, you know, like I don't think we're like near total capitulation. Like I think it feels like it to some people, and I think, oh, you're no headphones. Okay, cool. Yeah, you're prepared to wait. Yeah, I am too. In fact, it would sort of suit my purposes for it to kind of like wait like a few months. So, but I don't. But my prediction of the market isn't just based on like what would be good for me personally. Like I've been saying this exact thing like literally since January, February. Like I've been predicting this general sort of like down sideways market for the rest of the year for months and months and months, and I basically haven't deviated from this prediction that we were going to be like, you know, down / sideways all the way through the summer into the fall, into like basically through the fall, and then that we would get sort of like a little bit of like a hockey stick into the winter, and I haven't deviated from that prediction. Yeah, I agree. Bull market doesn't come instantly, and I'm partly basing this off of charts, but I'm also basing it off of sort of like sentiment. I feel like we haven't gotten near capitulation yet, just in terms of like people still have hope, like people still are holding, people are still sort of like we haven't reached despair yet, you know, like not enough people have quit the market. Like I did title this stream like ratings are down, but you know, ratings have to, like, people have to be angry, you know, like, people have to, like, completely give up, like, just completely, like, you know, go get jobs, like, rage quit, like, you know, quit discords, like, turn on their friends. Well, we've seen a lot of turning on their friends, let's face it. Like, you know, in my movie, you know, as you know, I'm writing a movie about this space, and that's one of the things, you know, as a screenwriter, I always, oh girl, December was a month I'll never forget. Such a euphoric month of parties and winning, huh? Looking at it now, it's kind of sad. Well, exactly. Like, that's the kind of thing that, like, as a screenwriter, you know, you're always sort of, like, looking at the big picture and kind of, like, thinking thematically. And so, as I think back over the course of this past, like, year and a half, I'm like, wow, like I remember... I remember this, like, one moment where I took a walk along the beach, and I like, literally said to myself, I'm going to be rich for the rest of my life. like, that's how much, like, euphoria I was feeling. Like, that was such a, like, characteristic moment of the bull run. And then, like, you know, this is such a classic, like, you know, movie, like, transition cut to... like, the difference between saying that to yourself and, like, what came next, which is, like, so hilarious. It's, like, it's so classic, you know? And in the movie, like, I'm definitely gonna show, like, you know, like, yeah, like, that month of December where, like, people like you and everybody around the world was, like, having this month of parties and winning and, like, you know, like, we can't stop winning and, like, this is so easy. And, like, and don't you remember how, like, you know, everybody on Twitter was like, you know, if you're not getting rich, you know, if you have access to a computer and you're not getting rich, like, you're a fool and you're an idiot. Like, how obnoxious everybody was, and, like, how quiet they all are now, and, like, some of them just, like, basically disappeared from Twitter and just stopped posting because, like, you know, the fact is, like, everybody's a genius in a bull market, and, like, the fact is, like, trading a bear market is a lot harder. And I personally learned how to trade in a bull market, and now that I'm, you know, having to kind of relearn how to trade in a bear market, like, it's not it's not as easy, frankly. Okay, the 8-hour on Bitcoin wants to go up too. Like, I say we go up a little bit here, and I'm going to call, let's see, I say we go to like maybe 64, 65 here. I don't think we go up a lot from here. I don't know, maybe we could go to 68. Let me look at the 12-hour. But so, like, as a screenwriter, like, this space is like so I don't know, it's a treasure for me, you know, like, because one of my sort of personal theories about like how films work is that like film is all about juxtaposition. It's all about like highs and lows, like big and small, like pairing like um something shocking next to something you know, like um I've seen lots of situations like those in Discord, people just abandoning the Lambo dream. Yeah, and not only that, but also like just recently, it feels to me like people are really turning on each other, just like in personal ways, and that's something that I'm really excited to like explore in the movie. Just the ways in which like in the bull market, people were like all like joining together, and people were so happy, and everybody was best friends, and like there was just such a sense of like connection and euphoria, and everybody was so excited. And then in the bull market, like it almost feels like the deeper into the bull market we got, the more people were like at each other's throats and just like ripping each other to shreds, like accusing each other of LARPing, like just quick to like call each other out on just the like smallest infraction, like just, you know, just hurtful, you know, just like just really cruel and hurtful and mean, and in ways in which like I feel like if they hadn't been so just kind of like just hammered by this bear market, I don't think people would have been acting that way. And you know, from my sort of like you know, God's eye view in the sky as a screenwriter, like it's been kind of like I've just been making notes the whole time, like just, you know, writing stuff down like every day literally in my script, like, you know, July 12th, like this happened, July 13th, this happened, because I wanted to make sure that I kind of remembered the chronology and like everything that's been happening, because so much is happening. But so when you say you see a lot of situations like those in Discord, people just abandoning the Lambo dreams, do you mean like people went from like, oh, I'm gonna be rich, to suddenly they're like all like butthurt and like angry and like saying like, yeah, that's kind of dumb. They act like they're your friends, and then they turn on you for the slightest thing because they're not in the optimal mental state. I mean, exactly. Like, and I feel like we see that in like big and small ways. Like we see that in like just all over the place, really. You know, like I mean, I can name like 5 examples off the top of my head, like not just with me personally, but with people I know, and like, you know, just all these like interpersonal conflicts that I feel like wouldn't have happened during the bull run, but that I feel like are a result of just people being on edge, you know, like people are on edge. This market has just, you know, the bear market is designed to like push us to the edge, you know. That's the point. It's like people with deep pockets, they can wait forever, you know, like they're not worried, like they've got years, you know, like and it's the little guys like us who you know, that's the meaning of capitulation, you know. It's to like push the little guys to the point where like, you know, when you see these like wicks at the bottom, where like the wicks at the bottom means that like, you know, people get sad, they get depressed, you know, not even the V bottom necessarily, but it's more the like long sideways bottom. Like it goes multiple ways. Speculators with Lambo posters start to understand you need to actually trade and not get lucky. Then the people that should be learning are giving up. Well, exactly, because the bear market is when you actually learn. Because, you know, in a bull market, you know, literally anyone can do it, and it's just, you know, a bull market is almost basically a Ponzi, you know, where you just have to get in early enough, and then you dump on the next person who gets in, and then they dump on the next person who gets in, and you basically just have to like ride it until the bubble pops. I mean, that's basically, you know, what a parabolic bull market like we experienced in 2017 is. But a bear market is where you actually learn how to trade and you learn how to invest, and you learn how to like not get dumped on, or you learn how to be the person who's earlier in the food chain and how to be the dumper rather than the dumpee, which is something that I'm definitely learning now. But I'm, you know, I sort of have two hats right now, and one of my hat is as a trader and as an investor. And so, you know, that hat is not very happy. You know, like that in identity is obviously like, you know, kind of suffering in this bear market, and it's not fun, and it's, you know, it's obviously been painful, and I've been suffering just like everybody else, and I'm on edge, and I'm stressed out, because it's hard to trade this thing. I mean, I'll admit it. It's hard. It's frustrating. You know, it's everybody's on edge about this. Because you know, if any normies are watching this, the problem in crypto with a bear market like this is that all of the assets are so correlated that it's not like you can be, you know, unless you hedge into fiat, which, you know, hopefully people do, but you know, if you're holding, let's say, an ICO, or you're holding ETH or something like that, like if Bitcoin crashes, then like everything crashes with it, and your losses sort of start to compound, because like, you know, the one asset price crashes, and then like your entire portfolio crashes like all at once, and there's sort of like nowhere you can exit to sort of like save yourself, except for maybe like Tether, which is, you know, that's a whole nother ball of wax. And so that's why the losses compound fast, but also why the gains compound fast as well. And so it starts to like, it messes with your head a little bit. Like it's psychologically punishing, because it's frightening. First is the USD value dump, then BTC value goes lower, resulting in double loss. Exactly. And that's a difficult concept for that is, unless you hedge. Exactly. And that's a difficult concept to, like, you know, sort of conceptually wrap your mind around. And I would argue that it's probably what scares a lot of normies away from investing in this space, because it's sort of like a newer thing that most people, even if they've invested in legacy markets for years, it's hard to kind of conceptualize and get used to. And unless you're kind of like, unless you have like a PhD in math or something, it's hard to like rapidly kind of like calculate ratios in your head, or even on paper. You know, even if you have like a ratio calculator, it's like, it's hard to kind of like get those ratios right. And so like figuring out hedging and all that kind of stuff is it's tricky. It's really not easy. And so that's what makes a bear market in crypto particularly punishing, because it's like, it's almost like double or triple punishing, you know, because it's like you get like hit on like three sides. And why hedging is so important. So yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm just trying to sort of like echo that, like, this is not easy, man. But like I said, I do think that we're going up here on Bitcoin, and that's also the reason why we always start the stream by looking at Bitcoin first, because right now everything is pretty much correlated with the Bitcoin price, and that's until we start getting major pairings with, like, alt pairings with USD or fiat on major exchanges. And when that happens, everything is going to start being less correlated, and it's all going to get to sort of be a lot easier, and like it's not going to start like crashing all at once or going up all at once. DV says, I think people thought crypto trading is different than normal markets. Lol. Yes, you can be a winner in bull market without concept of risk management. As soon as there's a slap, there goes the blood. Yeah, I mean, and the thing about, you know, crypto is exponential, but then it's also exponentially down too, which it's like people forget that part. It's exponentially up, but then it's exponentially down too. And that's what makes it like really punishing. Because you can win big and fast, but you can also lose big and fast. And that's it's tough, you know, it is not easy. So this is the daily here on Bitcoin, and actually let's look at our squid template, which I'm still kind of learning. Yeah, I think we're going up a little bit on the 12-hour. I'm going to say to 66, maybe? Let me know if you agree or disagree, DV. Looks like people don't like this earlier stream time, because I don't think we're getting a lot of viewers. But that's okay. I like that you're here, DV. You're like you're my most loyal supporter. And my best supporter, because you actually talk to me here. Because it's so hard to do this when I don't have anyone to talk to. Okay. That's what I think about Bitcoin. I think we're going up, for at least in the short term. And then we'll probably go back down after that. But, you know, we'll get a little short-term pump, at least. Let's look at ETH. I'm in Discord most of the time. Could see that hitting if microtrend started green. I think I missed what you're responding to. We must have some lag between us, Stevie. Maybe because you're in Spain.
Hold everything for less. The Pack Store Save event is going on now at the Home Depot, and the shelves are full of smart woods.
Oh, are you responding to when I said 66 and then down? I'm looking at ETH now. Oh, 6.8. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking 6.6 to 6.8 maybe, and then back down on Bitcoin. Now I'm looking at ETH. And again, I think we get a little up on ETH in the 6 hour. But just a little bit. Not much. Let's see. Hey, Mighty Mikey, good to see you here. How are you tonight? I'm looking at ETH right now, Mighty Mikey. So yeah, I think we go up here on ETH, and I'm gonna call maybe even as far as like 478, like here, 478 to 490. Hey, from Colombia. I spent about a month in Colombia. I loved it there, Ortiz. So good to see you. Where in Colombia do you live? I'm good. Thanks for being online and blessing the internet with my beauty and most importantly, educating us. Well, you're welcome, Mighty Mikey. And you just keep it coming, Mighty Mikey. Just don't hesitate to keep those compliments coming. Um, Ortiz, where do you live in Colombia? Because I loved Colombia. I spent some time on the fincas in in coffee country, and I loved it there. Such a just beautiful experience. Particularly this one where like I was the only person staying in the finca, and this giant parrot like perched on this railing where I like sat outside to eat breakfast every morning. Where this couple who only spoke Spanish like cooked me breakfast every morning, and like they didn't speak any English, I didn't speak any Spanish, and like I stayed there for like 2 full days, and I remember thinking like maybe like this isn't even a finca, and they don't even know why I'm here, but like they just thought that this weird American just showed up and like just started cooking for me, and they don't even know why I'm here. Can't you guys imagine me doing something like that? They were just the loveliest couple, and they cooked these amazing meals for me, and I stayed at their lovely finca. And it was just wonderful. I loved it. You guys can look at my Instagram if you want to see some pictures. My Instagram is just Julie Bush. And I was all by myself in Colombia for an entire month, and I didn't speak any Spanish. And my dad was so worried. He was like, "Oh my God, like something terrible is gonna happen or whatever." And I'm just sort of like, one of my mantras in life is I am safe wherever I go. Okay, so I think we go up here on ETH. That's my call. Let's call it at like 475, I think. Oh, you live in Barranquilla, but you're in Cartagena today. I loved Cartagena. Although when I was there were like a lot of tourists there, which obviously I know that I'm a tourist too. But I think there must have been some kind of like festival or something when I was there, because it was just like too many. I mean, the city of Cartagena itself is very beautiful, and it almost looks like a Disney pirate city, except it's real. Everybody should go visit it. It's fabulous. It's really incredible. But there were too many tourists for my taste. I visited Colombia because I just had always heard it was so beautiful, and I just finished this like really intense movie that like really like it kind of like wasted me. Like I just was like exhausted. Like my health was destroyed. Like it was such an intense experience, this movie I did, that I just needed to like kind of like get on a different hemisphere. Like I needed to like just literally like change hemispheres. Like I was like so wiped out like by this movie. It was just a really intense experience. So I just left for a month, and I just was like I need to go be somewhere else for a while. And I just kind of, and the thing is I actually was supposed to direct my own movie, and so what I was sort of telling my reps was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go to Colombia for a month, and I'm going to write this movie that I'm supposed to direct. And then while I was there, like the deal to direct my movie sort of like fell apart negotiations. So then I was sort of like, oh, now what? You know, it's just kind of a mess. But your family's from Bolivia and Ecuador. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, but you're from the USA. Well, fabulous. Yeah, I hear Ecuador is really beautiful too. I've never heard anything about Bolivia really. And here we are, all joined together by our interest in crypto. Okay, so let's look at ADX. I heard that this was a good one that's sort of at the bottom now. So let's look and see what's going on. So ADX, I have no idea what this thing does. I mean, you know, this is a shitcoin. But it does look like this is the 3-day here. So this looks like a classic bottom chart right here. So you guys can see the Stoke, I don't even know how to say that. It's curling up. We've got a green MFI. We've got a cross on the MACD here. This is pretty much totally bottomed out on the 3-day. This is a great area to start scaling in here. I'll even do a little drawing for you guys. This is basically a classic like rising or falling, descending wedge, falling wedge. How do you say it? Falling wedge? Here. There we go. That looks great to me. Let's look at the daily. So the daily looks good too. So the MFI is sort of oversold on the daily, so that doesn't look as good. But the Stoke is still bottomed out. MACD, can't really see this. I need to change these MACD colors because I can't see these so well. I wonder what MACD colors would show up better. You know, I need to do that right now. Okay, can you guys see that better? Maybe. Okay, but the most important thing on this chart isn't so much this like falling wedge here. I would say more important than that would be this here. You guys see this horizontal line here? It's like exactly bottomed out here on this horizontal. And that's what we're looking for here on the daily. It doesn't have to be on the daily, but like daily, 3-day, weekly, any like higher time frame. It's hit this like long-term horizontal support here. So this is a great buy. This is ready to go, I'd say. Let's look at ICX. Okay, so this one's less clear cut. We've got a green MFI buy signal on the 3-day. Stoke bottomed out. We're about to cross on the MACD. This is all on the 3-day. Name a better duo than XRP and Coinbase. Maybe any of the ones they announced today instead of XRP. DV, is that a joke? DV, what do you think about this ICX chart? Because theoretically, this is like, you know, this like giant falling wedge here, but at the same time, like, I sort of feel like if it goes below like this level here, this is on the 3-day here, I feel like if this goes below this sort of like area where it is right now, it's just like a free fall. What do you think? Yeah, is anybody who's watching this all pumped because Coinbase or said that they're exploring listing those, what is it, 0x, BAT, Stellar Lumens, what else? Did I miss one? Can you put B-bands to 25 too? Yes. Is that where you keep your B-bands, or is that like standard? Yeah, they're adding. They didn't say that they're actually adding those. They said that they're exploring adding those, which I feel like means they're absolutely going to add them, because they wouldn't put out an official tweet like that unless they were absolutely going to do it. Like, they're not irresponsible. DV, do you keep your Bollingers on 25 too? Is that like a standard thing? Am I kind of like doing it wrong or something? Remember, this chart is the 3-day. Do you want to look at the daily? So I feel like this here is like a falling wedge. But I feel like if we break like right where we're at now, here, I'll draw what I'm looking at. So I feel like this here is like a horizontal line of support there. But this is kind of a we've kind of got like a falling wedge going here. Yeah, it's my personal preference, but looking at it, if it goes lower, it won't be much. Okay, so you think that ICX is getting close to ready to go then, huh? How did you come to this personal preference on Bollingers? Because I've never actually heard of that before. Yeah, at least for some bounce. So you don't think ICX is prepped for a breakout then? Let's look at the squid. What the hell? Why is this so slow? What's wrong? Lots of trading, haha. Small change, but works good for scalping. Okay. So do you think I should keep mine that way, even if I don't scalp? Like if I do like mainly larger time frames? So yeah, the squid on the daily looks like it thinks ICX is going up too. B-bands are basically moving averages, so I combine them with moving averages. Oh. Oh, with other moving averages. Oh. Okay, so we think that ICX is going to get a little bounce here at least, if not a big one. Interesting. Okay, so does anybody have a coin they want me to chart? Any requests from the audience? If not, we'll do our nightly shill of FMF, which is Formosa Financial, which is life is a moving average. So I'm surprised that you don't use Super Guppy if you're in love with moving average. You're aware of Super Guppy, right? Which is basically just like all moving averages. I'll show you this on the Super Guppy. You're familiar with it, right? I actually love the Super Guppy. So like these are all EMAs, and like you have to sort of like learn how to use it a bit. Which coins am I invested in? Well, I was just about to tell you about Formosa Financial. I mean, I'm invested in a lot of coins, but most of them are like ICOs that haven't like come out yet, that are like in pre-sales, so you wouldn't have heard of them yet. But there's this one called FMF, which is a crypto bank out of Taiwan, which is going to provide treasury services to other crypto exchanges, crypto corporations, and high net worth individuals, including like treasury services, fiat on-ramping, custodial services, hedging, like we were just talking about, like the importance of like being able to like hedge your ETH if you're like an ICO who just raised like $40 million in ETH and suddenly like you're in a bear market and you need to like hedge your ETH into like fiat, like FMF will do that for you. It aims to be SEC compliant. Yeah, services for ICOs, exactly. It's like I said, it's in Taiwan, which is aiming to be like blockchain island, and Formosa Financial is in league with Taiwanese politicians. Yeah, and the good thing is they can test their treasury services for the ICOs on themselves, since they are themselves like a startup and an ICO. So DV and I are both investors, along with others that we know, and we're excited about it. And you can buy it right now on IDX, although it's not an official listing. It's just that like that's a place where like there's like a very, very small percentage of the total supply being traded. The official listing is going to happen probably soon, like probably within like the next 6 to 8 weeks, on like a top 3 exchange. And yeah, I think that's about it. Like, you know, considering that like custodial services and you know, and like fiat on ramping are sort of like the big memes of 2018 for crypto, like we're just really excited to be invested in a company that's basically doing it all. Yeah, and IDEX is selling it really cheap right now because they're only selling something like, I forget the exact number, but it's something like 0.25% of the total, you know, outstanding supply, or like 0.025% of the total outstanding supply, like a really like a minuscule amount, because the entire sale happened like to you know, it was like a very private sale. Like it never went to the public. So like we felt very lucky to get into the private sale, and so you can't buy size on IDEX. Like you can only buy like a very small amount right now, but the amount that you can buy is cheap. So yeah, if you're interested, like now would be the time to buy it, because I would say that it's an easy 3 to 4x like within the next couple of months, if not much more than that. So yeah, so I think that's all I have to say for tonight. Anything you want to add, DV, or anybody else? If not, I'm going to go for my swim, because it's still a little bit light out. Okay, well, love you guys. Thanks for watching as always, and I will see you tomorrow night. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And good night. Bye.